Hi, today will be the second medical talk. It will be about neurons. So neurons are the cells in the brain and the nervous system. This is how a typical neuron looks like. This assumes that the signal is being transmitted from the brain to the spinal cord. So the signal will be received by the dendrites at the top. It will flow down to the axon, and then the axon will connect to a dendrite of the next neuron. But in between the axon and the dendrite of the new neuron, there's something called a synapse. So there are four types of neurons. The first neuron doesn't have myelin sheath. Okay, this pink color thing is called a myelin sheath. It helps signals to transmit very fast. So it can jump from the front to the back without going through the whole body. Okay, but this is only for certain signals. So unipolar, then bipolar. Unipolar is found in the skin. The bipolar is found in the hearing and seeing senses. And the fourth one is found in the brain. So multipolar neurons are used to store memories and process information. And then there are other cells around the neurons. These are called glial cells. The main ones are astrocytes and oligodendrocytes. It has a few functions. One is it provides a blood-brain barrier, so toxins or bacteria or microorganisms cannot go in to affect the nervous system. Then it gives structure to the brain, so the brain is not so soft and liquid. And then it helps to maintain the neurons. It gives nutrients to the neurons. It regenerates the neurons. It is like a nurse. It is like a supporting structure so that when the neurons die, it helps the neurons to regenerate. So these are just the basics. There are many more things to study about glial cells. So some other facts about neurons. So axons are the site of first action potential. They contain sodium channels. So later we will see. So the signal comes from the axon and then moves to the dendrite of the next neuron. Axons can branch into more than 500,000 axon terminals. There is no typical neuron. Each neuron is different from the rest, depending on the branches and terminals of the axons and dendrites. Neurons are like any other cell. They need to undergo respiration for energy and replication through mitosis so that they can grow new cells. They have almost no storage of energy, so without oxygen, within 3 minutes, the neuron will start to die. That's why people with stroke needs to be sent to the hospital as soon as possible to get oxygen or blood running through the brain again. Synapses connect two neurons together. It allows ions to flow freely from axon to dendrites. Myelin sheath is the coloring in pink just now. It moves signals 10 to 100 times faster because signals can jump from the beginning to the end without flowing all the way. So this is a picture of a blood-brain barrier. You can see the astrocytes in blue is covering the capillaries, so that even smaller things that can go through the capillary cannot go through the glial cells to reach the neurons. This is a picture of chemical synaptic transmission. So it is not electrical like the heart, it is chemical. So while sodium will come in, then it will push potassium out. Right. After the signal stops, then potassium will come back in, sodium will go back out. So this is the resting potential of a neuron. It shows that you can see there are more positive charges outside and inside is negative charges. So as a result of the concentration gradient, there is a voltage gradient of negative 122 millivolts inside the neuron. This picture shows the stages of excitation. There are 5 stages of excitation. If you see on the right, you can see different waves. There's the intrinsic, reception, integration, encoding, and output. So from the reception, it needs to be transferred, it needs to be changed to the appropriate output signal so that it can be sent out. So this is a concentration gradient. We can see that sodium is very high on the outside of the cell, but very low on the inside. Potassium is high on inside, low on outside. Chloride is high on outside, low on inside. Calcium is low on inside, high on outside. So these blue color things are pumps. It will pump from the high concentration to the low concentration. Whereas the sodium at the bottom, the last pump, is where you every time sodium go in or go out, ATP and ADP is transferred. So you get energy. This is how the pumps work lah. You need energy. So this is a picture of a chemical impulse. So this chemical impulse is transmits neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are only in the brain. Okay, instead of transmitting ions, now they transmit chemicals which are called neurotransmitters. So far, scientists have identified 50 different types of neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters, for example is dopamine. Dopamine makes us feel happy. So when the first neuron transmits dopamine, then the subsequent neurons will start to produce dopamine, and then we start to feel happy. So the synaptic cleft prevents neurotransmitters from flowing outside. So this is the way the neurons get energy. You can see the neurotransmitters coming in from the left, and then GDP is transferred to GTP, and then there's energy to push out the potassium ions. This is another picture of potassium pumps. This is another picture of sodium pump. Go in, go out. Every time it goes in or go out, there is a energy created. In conclusion, so this is what additional things we have to learn is synapses are very important because it allows signals to pass in one direction. Otherwise, ions or neurotransmitters will go backwards. If you go backwards, then the signal cannot reach the destination. So synapses allow only one direction. And then how are memories formed? So each time a signal passes through a synapse, it will go into multiple dendrites. So it will form a pattern, a sequence of synapses. So the more this synapse is exercised, the more the sequence is passed through, it will be more capable of doing it again. Like when there's a river, more water will go into it. After a while, you get a river system, right? Or when there's a jalan, you walk along the road. The more you walk along the road, the more familiar you are with the road. So this is how we get memories. After a while, scientists still don't know exactly how the memory system works, but they know that it depends on the pattern of the sequence of the synapses. So once the pattern of sequence is there, we can recall memories and the experience appears like it is happening again, like we are experiencing it again. So it is like in life. In life, we make many decisions. One decision can lead to 10 new choices, and when we choose one of that choice, it leads to 10 new choices again. So it is like a branch of a tree. In conclusion, we learn how the body tells the head what to do, how the head tells the body what to do, and how memories are formed in the brain. Okay, thank you.